Hello everyone and welcome to Gierok Farms. Today we're going to be finishing up with corn silage here. We got a couple loads to put in the silo. Dad was just talking, he's debating putting a small pile in front of our heifer and dry cow barn, just a really tiny small one. And we also have some cover crops to plant today, some rye. So we'll be getting out with the drill and be doing some of that. But as for the corn silage, we got to do some chopping on one of our smaller triangle pieces. So there'll be a bit more of opening that field up and running corn down and a lot of messing around, but it'll be good to have it opened up. So I'm gonna get the 78 outside with the chopper and we'll hook up a wagon and I'll probably start chopping. Before we get started here, I wanted to show you guys the breakdown or the mechanical issues we've been having for most of corn silage harvest here, what I've been alluding to and talking about in the videos. So under the corn head here, you have this knife set up here, this star-shaped piece, which helps grab the corn stalk and pulls it in to this knife right here. And the two meet kind of like a scissors right in here, and that chops your physical corn stalk off, which then it goes up into your chain slash belt here, which feeds it up into the head and then into the actual chopper. The problem we were having, this piece here, the star shaped piece, these bolts right here sheared off. And I think that's a combination of fatigue and trying to pick corn off the ground, where this piece is getting down and into the dirt and a bit harsher than what it's designed for. And this knife here, the top piece here, the actual sharp knife that does most of the cutting, this is more or less just bringing the stalk in. This knife here I think was getting dull on us and chipped up and beat up. Wasn't quite an adjustment, so I think that was part of the reason why. So this piece broke off, so you had to take everything apart. We had to use an easy out and try to reverse the broken off bolts out of there. Thankfully we didn't have to retap anything or anything crazy like that. So I'm guessing after we finish today or before we start next year, we'll be replacing these knives on both sides. I just picked those up yesterday, so that should help a lot. And then also, it might be hard for you guys to see, but to adjust these, there's shims in there as well to bring this piece closer to the knives or further away, because you want it as close as possible to where it's like a good scissors, where the two sharp edges are meeting each other just perfectly. And if all that's set up correctly, everything should run smooth when it comes to cutting the actual stalk. So we were having issues with that, where that was plugging up because it wasn't perfectly adjusted, and then obviously it broke early on, which caused it to be out of adjustment for us and caused the plugging up issues, which slowed us down a little here and there, but overall things went good. Okay, so the plan is Dad's gonna take the chopper, he's gonna go putz with that, then I'm gonna hop in the 7510 and go spread this load of manure real quick, and then I think I'll be putzing with that cover crop, the rye, getting the drill ready to go, and we'll mess around with that stuff today. Looks like River is gonna come with. That'll be nice. All the dry cows are looking great. That pile came together pretty well. If you guys haven't watched them videos yet, make sure to go watch those. It was a pretty solid couple days of harvesting corn silage there. Today will just be the nice cherry on top, finishing things up. manure spread and the spreader unhooked. Now we're gonna go dig out our no-till drill, that Great Plains we got. Might not be able to get it out of there with the 7510, we'll see. We'll mess around with that and get the drill ready to go. Got the drill in front of the shop here now. We're gonna take some time and grease it up, throw some oil on the chains while we got it out, and then we're gonna start changing settings, get it all set up to where it's just feeding down to one box. We got 3 boxes on this drill, so we gotta make sure the 2 back ones are shut off, and then we'll put our rye oat mix, our cover crop mix, in the front bin, make sure that's set to the correct seeding rate, and we'll go from there. There we are, we're all loaded up to seed. We'll have to double check our rate and everything before we go, and then we'll check our depth once we're going down there. Keep track of how much seed we're going through, if it makes sense or not. Daddy's back up in the yard now with the chopper, but I see he pulled it into the shop, so he must be having some kind of issues with it. But like I was saying when I was explaining our issue this morning, I think it's a lot of having to do with picking that corn back up off the ground. It's not very easy on that stuff. One of the many benefits of having a self-propelled is you don't have to worry about running over the crop, but it comes with a price tag too, so pros and cons. Okay, we went for maybe 30-40 yards, and I decided I'd get out and check everything, make sure everything's running good, make sure we're actually planting, check our depth, all that good stuff. Checking all of our seed tubes, making sure nothing there looks clogged up. Looking good so far. Make sure none of this is poured down. oat seed there. Here we got a more desirable seed to soil contact in a wetter year where it's just barely on top. And then this row right in this spot got it a bit deeper. Maybe like half an inch or so, I'd say. What I'm seeing, we might be going a little too deep. The last place the drill was used was on our pond project, and this is probably a bit more mellow ground. Probably a bit easier for the drill to go through compared to that stuff. So if we, to the right is deeper, to the left is shallower. Try that, see what it does. Okay, I haven't quite made it all the way to the other end of the field, but I'm getting close. I've gotten out a couple times, making adjustments to my depth, and I think I'm happy with where I have it. Especially in a no-till situation like this, it's kind of hard to gauge every row unit the same. You know, you kind of got to gauge them as an average with how uneven the ground is, or one row might be going over the old row of corn stalks, and then the other one's in some nice powdery dirt. I think I found a happy medium. We're getting some good seed to soil contact, so we'll give it a try here. We'll probably check it once we get another pass or so. We haven't plugged up yet or anything, which is great. All that's going well. Once I get done with these outside rounds here, I'll probably be going closer to 4.5, 5 miles an hour, but right now I'm in the upper 3s. And while I got you guys on, look who I was able to get up here in the cab. Took a bit of muscle to get her up in here. She didn't want to climb up in here herself, but she's not complaining. She's been trying to get a nap in here. I think she's pretty tired, tuckered out. But I'm happy I got her in the cab. It's probably been, this will be her second time in the tractor cab. Right, River? Yeah. She's just small enough to fit in here. Then we also got her new collar, a pink one. Got a nice new pink collar for River. What do you think of it, River? We'll probably keep her with us for another couple rounds, and eventually we'll let her back out. She can go relax up in the yard instead of getting thrown around the cab with me. Nice to have her along anyways. I'll focus on seeding here now and check back in with you guys in a little bit. Okay, I finished all my headland rows. Figured I'd get out again, double check my depth, and make sure we didn't plug up on any of our rows here. It's such a pain to see if we're plugged up or not, but this side's looking good so far. I would hate to mess up and leave a skip or a streak or a gap. Especially in this field, we got a main road running right by it, so all the neighbors will get to see it and judge it. We don't want to mess up too bad out here. Check our seed box too while we're out of the cab. That makes sense. Looking okay so far. We'll know in a week or two how well we did. We'll keep plugging away. We're not quite to the point where we need to go back and fill, so I'm gonna try to do this little triangle here and then start working my way towards the hill. Set you guys somewhere on the drill. Hope you enjoy the views. just came to check in and see how things were going. I think he's starting to put away the chopper boxes, at least one of them. There'll probably be 1 or 2 boxes that get chopped within the next week here just to fill the silo as it settles. But we're pretty wrapped up for corn silage harvest, which is great. This dry weather is helping prevent the drill from getting plugged up by the openers, but then it's getting pretty dang hard, especially in this grass, to see where I was. It'd be ideal if I had some type of mapping or guidance so I could at least see where I've been and what I've done, or to have markers on this thing. If I was planting like soybeans or something where I was going a little deeper, I could just, you know, let it make a more noticeable trench, but now I'm just scratching the surface. It's so hard to tell what's what. River still seems happy, which is great. Right, River. Right. She's already got a couple fruit snacks of mine, which I think makes her a bit happier to be here. Right, River. You like the yellow ones, right? Yeah. There we go. We got our second fill of seed. We're gonna head back down now. And guess who decided to jump back up in here all by herself? I just asked her if she wanted to go, open the door, she jumped right in. Heck yeah! I think she likes the AC in here. I think that's what's going on. Finally got comfortable. I'm really happy to see that. You were kind of nervous about getting in the first time today. No, it's a fun place to be. It's probably because of them fruit snacks. But anyways, yeah, we'll head back down, and the sun's starting to set here now. It's getting later in the day. Talking to Dad, my plan is to at least finish that big piece we're on for today. It's pretty early yet. We're not too worried about pounding the cover crop in. If we don't get to the other side of the road to fill in the headlands on that other flat field, so be it. But we'll see how far we get. Checking back in once again. Everything's been going fairly smooth. It's been a little hard to see exactly where I've been, especially over in the center of the field more. There's a lot of weeds this year. I think the dry weather definitely affected our weed control program. Any chemical that was put out here didn't act properly due to the lack of moisture. I don't think it affected yield too much. Corn was able to canopy over it. The only weeds that kind of got out of hand, you can see them here as we're passing by. Some of the velvet leaf got high enough where it could do something. But you'll have years like that. Still can't complain with how our yield was this year, considering the lack of moisture and everything like that. So I just got back from filling up for the third time. This time I only put about half as much in there. I didn't fill it up quite all the way. Being when I finish this field, there'll probably be a little left in the hopper, but I didn't want to overfill it to where there'd be a lot left when the other side of the road behind me gets finished. The headland rows of that other cornfield. Try to get it so I'm closer to empty when we're done with this guy, and then it'll be easier to gauge on that field if we need to add more, and you can just add a little right at the end to make it work out instead of having a bunch left over. Hopefully the lack of moisture and the excessive greenery there in the middle of the field doesn't affect how this cover crop comes in this fall, and hopefully my planning's straight enough to where it's not an eyesore. As for seeding rate, it seems like we're coming out okay based on prior years. It seems like it's putting out the right amount of seed based on what we've done in the past. If anything, I might have a little too much overlap, and that might be affecting how much we're using, but all in all, I think the machine's doing its job. Another thing with this this extra trash to go through, it's affecting my depth. I don't want to change it because it's not consistent the entire way. So we'll see how that affects it as well once it starts to come up. River, she's still doing good. She's still enjoying it here. Same thing as last time, let her out once we went to go fill, and then she decided, all right, we're gonna go back in there. I think she's learned to enjoy it, which is great. Makes me super happy. Let me know down in the comments if any of you that have a dog, if they like riding in your car, or if you have a tractor, if you have a dog that enjoys riding in the tractor with you. Be interested to hear about it. My wife's away on vacation, so River's got to hang out with me. That's why she's in the tractor. Right, River. Right. Get some fruit snacks. Yeah. Another update. That slight rain shower they were talking about that ended up showing up this evening. I wasn't able to quite finish. It was a real kick in the gut. I maybe had like 4 passes left, but I was going in the rain for quite a while there, and the dirt's not too bad. It's fairly dry, but all the corn stalks and stuff that's left behind, that's starting to gum up and adhere itself to the drill. So I decided, especially for a cover crop, better off just pulling out of there instead of forcing it in and having to plug up our drill and mess around like that. It's not going to hurt it. There's a day or two in between what was planted and now, and versus what will be planted. So we're packing up and headed back to the yard. It's also a shame to see the drill get wet. Not gonna curse the rain, that's for sure. But we're gonna call it quits. It's getting dark too, where I'm having a hard time seeing my my last row from the last pass. And instead of messing stuff up and plugging up, we'll just push it off to tomorrow or the next day. And I was also getting down there on seed. I didn't quite calculate it just right. I should have put in a bag or two and a couple more buckets of oats. But you win some and you lose some, I guess.